Hello family, my name is Chris, I am your home gamer dad, and today we're going to learn what it takes to be a rogue agent, hunting down and putting an end to the recruitment of those with powerful psychic abilities into a dark organization. Using the Enigma, that is, the mobile phone, I will show you how to play the solo and cooperative variant for Mind Management. Again, just a reminder, this is a solo and cooperative version for this game. Any of the 2, 3, or 4 player games where one person is the recruiter and the other players are the rogue agents will not be covered in here. You're going to have to find other how to plays along that or just check them out in the rulebook itself. Wonderful rulebook, very well written, very easily laid out so you'll be able to understand it all. But at least most of the things that I talk about here for solo and co-op variant are the exact same things that you would find in the main game. It's just that you would need the app in order to do that. So let's go ahead and take control of our agents, head into Zanzibar, and see if we can find this recruiter from taking people under the wings of Mind Management. Designed by Jay Cormier and Sen Fung Lim, with art by Matt Kinth, the creator of the comic series of Mind Management in which this game is based off of, and published by Off the Page Games, this psychic espionage game pits players against a recruiter moving their way through the streets of Zanzibar, recruiting those with psychic powers into the Mind Management organization. This is a hidden movement game where the rogue agents must ask the right questions, shake down informants and nasty immortals, and use their own psychic powers in order to stop Mind Management from recruiting too many people and solidifying their stranglehold on world events. Special thank you to Off the Page Games for providing a copy of this game for the How to Play along with future video sessions. This is the deluxe edition of the game, so my pieces may look different from yours, but all function the same way. As always, if you're looking for a specific part of this game to learn, check the timestamps of this video and be sure to ask any questions down in the comment section below. Otherwise, let's get hunting. Before beginning, you're going to want to download the Mind Management Assistant app. This app is available on Android and iOS devices, and you can either find it on the App Store or directly at offthepagegames.com/mindmgmt. Once installed and running, you're ready to open the game box and set up your game. When you first open up your Mind Management box, you're going to notice that you have this piece right here on the front. And what this is a lot of little boxes in it that's known as the shift system. These are things that you're going to add to your game in order to enhance it, change it up, or at least give one side an advantage over another. These are things that you're going to unlock as you go through the game. These can be unlocked in solo mode, and of course they'll be unlocked if you play 2 to 4 player mode. But don't peek at these because you don't want to spoil anything yet. But for right now, this entire box of little boxes, you're just going to want to leave to the side, and then you're going to go into the box and start taking out the rest of the items for setup. Setup begins with the game board oriented so that the recruiter side is facing you. It's easier to read the board this way when playing solo or cooperative, but you can go onto the other side, which is the rogue agent side, and look at it that way, even though you are only playing as the rogue agent in solo or cooperative mode. You do not need to be on that side, unless you want to be there, whatever works for you. But if you notice this way, all of the items would be facing you, so you can read them easier. And just to show you up here, because it's a large vertical board, all the rogue agents would have sat on that side in order to show what their abilities are. But you're going to have cards in front of you in order to do that, plus the app will guide you through each one of your rogue agent's abilities. Also, if this is your first time playing Mind Management, there are 2 different ways that you can start the game, either training mode or go right into an immediate full game. Training mode is a simpler version of the game, and throughout this tutorial, I'm going to be going over both ways in order to play, pointing out the difference between the 2 setups along the way. From the box, you're going to want to grab yourself a dry erase marker. If you are playing cooperative, by all means, you can give everybody their own dry erase if you want, but 1 should be more than enough, along with 15 mental note tokens. These are all double-sided. There is a white side and a green side. That is a difference within the game because white sides are you kind of know what's going on. Maybe they're more just there in order to give you hints and better ideas about where the recruiter is. The green side is a guaranteed thing. If you write anything on this, that is a known fact from the game, so you want to make sure to use the right side while playing. These tokens right here represent the people that are recruited by Mind Management and actually contribute to the lose condition for both the training and main game. For the main game, you're going to want to take 12 of these and put them to the side, because if you hit all 12, then it is game over. For a training mode, you're only going to want to take 9 of them. In addition, if you're playing the main game, you're going to want to take the 4 Immortal figures, and you're going to want to put them to the side as well. In addition to that, you're going to take the Mayhem tokens right here. These are what block movement throughout the course of the main game. And then 2 Mind Slip tokens, which are these yellow tokens right here. Again, this is all just for the main game. You would not use any of these in the training game. Finally, for both main game and training mode, you're going to want the time token right here. You're going to want a stack of red footprints in order to keep track of all your clues about where the recruiter has gone throughout your journey, the 16 feature cards, and then each one of the tokens that represent the rogue agents that you will be playing as in the solo and cooperative modes. The time token keeps track of how many turns there are left in the game. In order to begin, you're going to want to put it over the 1 to 5 o'clock spot right here. Each one of these numbers actually represents a move that the recruiter makes in the game itself. So the very first thing that the recruiter is going to do is move 5 spaces on the board, and you're going to put this here. Should the time token ever hit 16 during the main game, you would get 1 more turn, and if you still haven't caught the recruiter, you have immediately lost. In the training mode, it's recommended to put 2 recruiting tokens here, because training mode only goes up to 14 turns. So you only have that many turns in order to catch it. So it's a bit of a shorter game in training mode. Again, just to give you an idea about how the game plays and certain points of the mechanics. In both the main game and the training game, you're going to be playing as the 4 agents here. So you're going to want to take all of their matching figures and then the cards that go along with them. For the main game, each one of the characters will have a special ability that they can use, but in training, they do not have these special abilities. So if you want to take the cards just for a reference, you can flip them over, which does show their name and a little bit of description about the character. This is something we're going to go over in a little bit, but I just want to call it out right now because it is something that you can have in your hand and as a reference while playing. You're also going to want to take these potential recruiter cards and have them close to you just so you can have an idea of which one of the special abilities the recruiter will have. You won't know which one of these 2 are within the power set for the recruiter until the end of the game, but you can use them to see what they are in order to kind of guess where the recruiter is going and help you track them down better. I'm going to go over how to set up a full game first, and then I'll show you what is different between that and a training game when it comes to setup. So within the app, you're going to go ahead and hit Start Full Game, and I'm covering up the side to the left right there because those are special things that are unlocked as you continue to play the game. So you don't have to worry about those right now. For now, we're just going to go ahead and hit the Start Game button. And now it's going to walk us through the full setup. Welcome to the Mind Management Full Game. Place the board game in the middle of the table and follow the prompts for the setup. As I mentioned before, the time tracker is going to start at the 1 to 5 spot right here. Next, it's going to ask you about setting up the Mayhem tokens. It's going to ask if you want to randomize them or place them on your own. I personally like to randomize them just because it makes it a little easier for like a quicker setup, but you can place them on the board as you wish. So I'm going to hit random. And as you can see on the app, this is where they set up for the game. So you're just going to take your Mayhem tokens and you're going to place them on the board in accordance to where you see them on the map. It's an exact one-for-one thing, so you just have to find exactly where the space is and place the Mayhem tokens there. You can hit the shuffle button in order to move them around the map even more. Again, it'll always be a random setup that way, but in this case, we're just going to stick with what's here and then hit the done button. Next, you're going to take your 4 Immortals, and these are going to be placed on the spaces. You're going to hit OK, and it's going to show you exactly what spaces the Immortals set up in. There are numbers on the back of the Immortals. You do not have to worry about which numbers those are. The computer and the AI program will be able to keep track of them, no problem. It doesn't really matter. This guy actually goes here. They can be on any order. They can even be on any side, because on one side is a skull with the numbers, and then the other side of these Immortals are actual people faces. So it really depends on what you want to play with and what you want to look at as you go through. I do recommend when you put the Immortals down, try to keep them from covering up any of the features that appear on the game board. Each square on the game board features 2 different features on it, and I'll go over the features shortly. First thing that the AI recruiter does is secretly choose a spot on the board along with 3 features from the pack of 16. These are the spaces where they'll be able to recruit others for mind management. They then move 5 spaces in orthogonal directions. The recruiter cannot enter a spot that they've already been, and this goes for the whole game. If they move into a spot with at least 1 or more of their features, they secretly recruit someone. At certain intervals during the game, the recruiter reveals how many they have recruited that turn. The next part on the app does all this automatically and shows you how many of the recruits they have for their opening turn. So as you can see right here, it says 3 new recruits have been brainwashed, falling under the influence of the recruiter. My manager will prevail, blah, 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 blah. Place 3 recruits next to the 1 to 5 spot. So on the board, you're just going to take 3 of your recruiters and you're going to put them here. This way you can keep track visually on how many they are recruiting. But the app will also tell you how many are being stacked as well, because if it ever hits 12, you immediately lose. Hit OK, and then move on to be able to place our rogue agents on the board. And as you can see on the app, you're allowed to place your rogue agent in any space along the border of the map. The app asks you where you want to place the agents in order of Bill, Dusty, Henry, and then finally Meru. These agents may share spaces, and after you select you want to put them in, you hit confirm to place their matching figure on the board in the exact same spot. So in this situation, let's say we take Bill and we would confirm him right here, and thus we would put him on the board in the same spot. Then we would do the same thing for Dusty, figuring out where we want to put him. Let's put him down over here. So we'll put Dusty right here on the spot as well. Again, I recommend making sure that whenever you place them to try to keep the features showing. So now we have Henry. Henry we want to put probably down over here somewhere for right now. This is just kind of off the top of my head. And then Meru we'll put her up over here right next to this spot as well. Once you've placed all 4 agents, you're going to take the yellow mind slip token. One of them was given to the recruiter already, and the other one you're going to be able to place on a board on a spot that is bordering a temple. Temples are special locations on the board that both the agents and recruiter can move into and out of diagonally. Place the token on the spot marked with whatever spot it is on the app, and then you're going to hit confirm when done. So as you can see, you have this like figure 8 form right here all around the temples. I like placing it kind of in between some of the Mayhem tokens because as the recruiter moves around, you can kind of guess where they're going. If you get some spots up here and they would move down here in order to grab the mind slip token, make sure to place that on the app as well by hitting the spot that it goes on and then confirm. Find the 2 features mentioned and then put them on either in front of you or somewhere to the side so this way you can see them. I like placing them up top over here just so I have a better view for them. There will always be 2 out here at any given time. So once an Immortal recruits from one spot, it's removed and a new one is replaced. What's also very helpful is you know that these are areas that the recruiter cannot recruit from. I mean, even if it's like sake right here, they can't recruit from the coffee, but they may be able to recruit from the billboard. So at least you know that there won't be really going to the spots with these particular features on them. And it's a good way of narrowing down their path and seeing what are the best path that they're taking in order to recruit the most people. You're going to go ahead and hit OK. So now the recruiter has moved. After their initial 5 spaces that they have moved, it now says that they have moved to 6, which means they have taken 1 more movement on the board. Remember that the recruiter can only move orthogonally and cannot pass into a spot that they have been through before. Their mind slip will enable them to pass over a spot that they've been, but they cannot go to the same place twice. So now that it says 6, we're going to move this up, we're going to hit OK, and then we're going to see the Immortals taking their first move. The way that the Immortals work is that after the recruiter has taken their turn, they get to take 1 Immortal on the board and move them 1 space. They are allowed to move them diagonally or orthogonally, and their goal is to get 2 Immortals in order to be on 2 different spaces that share one of the 2 features that you have drawn. Immortals cannot share the same space with each other. Once an Immortal has been placed on a spot that has the same feature on it that they're looking for, they automatically recruit. So for this case, if this guy was here and this one moved up from here, then they would be able to recruit one because these 2 Immortals share a feature even though they're on different spaces. So in this case, this guy has moved down over here into a spot that actually shares both of the features that we're currently looking for, the coffee cups and the torches, and then you're going to hit done. If they happen to recruit anything, you would have found out right there, and then you would add the recruiter to the board. After all this, it is now time for the agents to take their first turn. Okay. To win Mind Management, you're going to need to use your wits and deduction skills along with psychic powers in order to track down the recruiter before they recruit a certain number of people within the city of Zanzibar. You lose the game if the recruiter gets their set number of recruits, which is 12 for the main game, 9 for training, or if the timer runs out, which is 16 for the main game or 14 for training. On the rogue agent's turn, you may choose to activate any 2 agents to perform 2 actions each. One action is going to be a move, the other action is going to vary depending on the things that you want to do, including unique abilities from some of the agents. Once an agent has taken their turn and done their 2 actions, you flip them over and they cannot be used again until all other agents have taken their turn. So for the first turn, you're going to pick 2. So you would choose 2, they would take their turn, and then on your next rogue agent turn, you would have to use the other 2 that you haven't done this turn. Keep that in mind as you're playing them because they can go in any order right here, but they all have to take a turn before they get a second turn. In order to activate an agent, you simply just click on them and it shows you a list of possible actions that you can use for your agent for that turn. And I'm going to go over each one of them that each one of the agents share, and then I'm going to go over their specific abilities that make them unique. Keep in mind, each one of these actions does have a card within the game in order for you to have a physical copy in order to read and reference off of, so I'm going to be showing those as well in order to be able to give you a better idea about what does what. The move action. A rogue agent can move up to 2 orthogonal spaces. The exception to this are the 2 temples where the agents can move diagonally into or out of the temple spot. In the full game, the agent may move onto or through a location with an Immortal, but an agent cannot move through a Mayhem token. So for example, Bill here, when you want to take a move action, he moves in 2 orthogonal spaces. So he can go 1, 2, or he can even turn and go 1, 2, going downward, 1, 2, because he can share a spot with an Immortal, or finally he can go 1, 2. As far as going this way, he can only go 1, he can't move into this space because of the Mayhem blocking his way. He has to be able to go around it somehow. However, because he is connected to a temple up here, he is allowed to move diagonally into this spot. And you can even tell that because the temples each have little bridges that surround them on all of their sides, meaning that you can move into or out of a temple spot no matter what, whether it be diagonal or orthogonal. Again, the recruiter can do this too, but they can only visit each temple once because of their movement restrictions. Ask. Choose a feature in the agent's location and the recruiter will tell you if they have visited any locations with that feature. In the full game, the agent cannot ask about a feature if an Immortal occupies a space with that feature. For this example right here, using the app, we'll hit Meru and we will hit Ask, and we will see which one of the features that we can ask about. Because there is an Immortal in a space with the torches in it already, we cannot ask about them. However, there are no Immortals in the spots with the pools, so we're able to ask about them. We ask the recruiter if they have been to a spot with these pools, and they will say yes or no. If it is a yes, they will let us know what spot on the board that they have visited that has a pool in it, in which case then we would take one of these red feet tokens and put them in there, which means that the recruiter has walked into that spot at some point during their journey. Sometimes a no is just as important because if we ask, have you been to one of these pools, that means within the first 6 turns of the recruiter's turn, they have not visited any one of these spots with the pools in them, which I think there was, yeah, that should be just the 5 there. This is a great time to use your mental note tokens here in order to be able to know for sure. I usually like putting an X and then how many turns it's been, and you would just drop it in there, and you would do that for all of them. Noting that within the first 6 turns, the recruiter was not here, narrowing down their spaces and determining where exactly they have gone and where they are recruiting from. Whoop, came back here. Sorry about that. Thing to note about the mental note tokens is that a total of 15 of them can be on the board at one time, no more than 15. If a note is needed to be taken and there are no more tokens in the reserve pile, you have to remove one from the board, erase its info, and then use it for the new note. Keep in mind also that these, again, are double-sided, so if you have a guaranteed piece of information, something that you know is a fact, you would use the green side in order to trigger that. The white side is more of the, I think this is what's happening, and a good thing to keep track of. So that is, again, the difference between the 2 colored sizes for the mental notes. Reveal. In a space with a step token, which are the red feet tokens, the recruiter reveals when they were in that spot. The agent may not use the reveal action if an Immortal is in the same space. The reveal action has shown that the recruiter has been in the spot during their journey. Now that one rogue agent has been able to show us that by asking about the pools, we can then use a second rogue agent in order to get in here and find out exactly when the recruiter was there. Using Dusty, we'll use the move action first. Again, with your move and your other actions, move can be done first and then your other actions, or you can do another action and then move, but you will always have at least one move action on your turn. We can move him 1 space because you can move up to 2 spaces. You don't have to move the full 2. And then in the app, we can go ahead and tap on Dusty and do reveal. This will show us exactly what turn the recruiter hit that space. In this case, it was the 4th turn. So then you're going to want to remove the step token here, the red token, and you're going to want to put a number 4 up here on the board in order to show that this is the exact time that the recruiter hit here. And then you can start getting a path together once you start getting more information about where the recruiter has been. If this had been the setup where there was an Immortal in the spot with the step token, you cannot use the reveal action. The Immortal prevents you from doing that. Instead, you're going to have to take another one of your agents to do a different move and hope that this guy moves out at some point, or maybe use reveal action on another space that you have had a step token placed on. Capture. The rogue agent may use this action in order to attempt to capture the recruiter and win the game. This can only be done in the space that the agent occupies and cannot be performed if there's an Immortal in the same space. If the recruiter is in the space, then the rogue agents win. If not, make a mental note of it and try again. And in the app, you're able to do that simply just by hitting the capture button, and it's going to ask you if you want to confirm, and in your space, it's going to attempt to capture the agent, and if there's there, you win, and if not, unfortunately, you have failed, and that is the end of your agent's turn. You can still move them if you haven't already, but at the very least, you know that they are not there. Shakedown. In the full game, this is used to gather information from Immortals. In a space with an Immortal, the agent can choose any feature on the board and ask if it matches any of the 3 feature cards that the recruiter is using. If yes, the card is revealed and the recruiter can no longer recruit from that feature. If no, then make a mental note. You may then push the Immortal into a space 1 orthogonal space away from you. Keep in mind that the Immortal cannot go through Mayhem tokens and cannot share a space with another Immortal. So in this example right here, we have Henry in the space with an Immortal. We're going to head over to the app, and we're going to go ahead and use the Shakedown. We're then going to choose any one of these features. The ones that are grayed out have already been revealed. I've moved forward a little bit with this in order to be able to get a few other examples showing for you guys, but the book, the torches, and the cup have already been revealed, so you know that the recruiter aren't using them. But you can then choose any other feature, it doesn't matter where they are on the board, and you're going to be able to select them, confirm, and then we're going to shake down the Immortal to find out if this is something that the recruiter is using. In this case, it is not, so they cannot collect from the mind pools, but that does mean that they're probably not visiting those spaces much. Mental note right now is that the mind pools are not used for this particular game, so you can kind of push them to the side or whatever and work on something else. You're then able to push the Immortal 1 orthogonal space. You cannot push it diagonally even if you are next to a temple. Of course, it's best to push them in an area where you can kind of get them away from certain features and whatnot. So I'm just going to shove this guy over here. Ally abilities. In the full game, the rogue agent may use an action to call an ally to help them. The game starts with 1 ally, the Black Ops Dolphin, but more are unlocked as you go through the shift packages. The agents can have any number of allies, activating more than 1 in the same turn, but can only be used once per game. Once used, the ally is discarded. For this example, I'm going to use Henry to activate his ally, which is summoning the Black Ops Dolphin. Each one of the allies that you have unlocked will appear here, and they each have their own unique special abilities to them. For in this case, the Black Ops Dolphin, you're going to be able to choose about a feature that is in your spot and ask the recruiter if they have visited any of the spots on the board, and if they have to reveal every spot they've been at with that feature. Unfortunately, because Immortal is at the umbrellas right now, I can't ask about them. However, I can ask about the coffee shop, so I can click that, and then the dolphin will go ahead and find that out. So they have only visited 1 space on the board that has the coffee shop. And yes, things are looking a little bit different here. My app kind of went a little weird on me and I had to restart it, but this is, again, just for example-wise. Once I play the full game for you, we'll be able to see it all in action from beginning to end. Agent abilities. In the full game, the agents have their own special abilities that they can use to track down the recruiters. These abilities can be used once per activation, and some require actions to do so. I'm going to go over each one of the rogue agents and what their special powers are. Bill Falls. For natural ability to find the weakest spot in an opponent, usually with his fists. Free action. Before or after you move, Bill may move 1 Immortal that's orthogonally adjacent to him 1 orthogonal space, following all of the movement rules for the Immortals. So Bill is right here. He would then use his Detect Weakness ability, which again is a free action, in order to move this guy up, down, or over here. I believe he can move him into the same spot with him as well, but usually you would want to move him to a spot where you won't have to worry about them touching a feature that they are looking for. Dusty. Pop star whose music and lyrics are embedded with secret messages capable of influencing both individuals and mobs. Neurorhythm, free action. Dusty can move any agent one space +1 for each feature card that has been revealed from an Immortal Shakedown action, obeying all movement rules. So again, using his free action, he's able to move any other agent one space +1 for every revealed feature card you have from the recruiter. So if you found out that the recruiter is looking for people in these birds, then you would be able to move Henry here up to 2 additional spaces, even after he has taken his moves already. Now remember, you're going to have to follow all movement rules, so he cannot move diagonal. He cannot move through Mayhem spots, so if they're in the way, and he can move into spots with the temple so long as diagonal, in the diagonal spot. So again, it's orthogonal and cannot move through Mayhem. All the normal movement rules. Henry Lyme. Lyme's crippling paranoia causes him to continuously radiate a field of negative psychic energy. Mental Block, a passive ability that's always active. Immortals may not recruit in his location or locations adjacent to Henry. So as long as Henry's right here, these Immortals cannot recruit at all, even if there's another Immortal on the board that shares one of the features that they are on. However, this guy would still be able to recruit. So even though these two are on monk spaces, they can't recruit because he is orthogonal to Henry. Even if Henry moves here, that opens up his ability, but now blocks him. Unfortunately, if Henry happened to move up here, then these two are no longer mentally blocked and can recruit from their spots, should they share the same feature for having the monks that are revealed on the board. So keep that in mind. It's only orthogonal spaces, and it also includes the space if Henry is on it with it. This is a great way of blocking off various Immortals if they're starting to bunch up together, to make sure that you have time in order to figure out where the recruiter is and stop them from bringing more to mind management. Meru. Orphaned and brainwashed as a child, Meru has grown into an angry-driven agent of change with the ability to cancel other psychic powers. Psychic Crosshairs. For one action, Meru asks the recruiter if they're within 2 spaces orthogonally in all directions of her. The recruiter has to answer yes or no, but does not need to put down step tokens. Meru can't use this action if in a space with an Immortal, but it can go past Mayhem walls. So again, with Meru, you're going to use an action, so it does require an action to figure out if the recruiter is in any one of these 4 spots from her. She'll be able to then kind of hone in on exactly where it is, and hopefully another agent will be able to get around in order to capture them. Her power does go over Mayhem, but if she shares a space with an Immortal, she cannot use it. However, if she is not in a space with an Immortal, it will still activate, so it doesn't completely block the crosshairs. It just happens only if she's in the same spot. After 2 agents have gone, then the recruiter goes, moving up 1 spot. If they hit any one of these red areas, they let you know how many they have recruited during their turn. Again, you're going to want to keep track of this, because if it ever hits the end number for either training or for the main game, then you immediately lose. You can also check the app at any time to make sure that the recruits that the recruiter has taken match your account in order to be able to keep track of that in the end. It also shows you what features that the Immortals have recruited from and which ones you have been used throughout the course of the game as well. If you have revealed any of the features that the recruiter is looking for, that'll also be up here. And then also will show you if they have used their Mind Slip. Mind Slip. In addition to the regular movement, the recruiter has a special Mind Slip ability. In the beginning of the game, the app chooses either Carl Box or the Pipe Girl. When activated, the recruiter is able to jump a single space either orthogonally with Carl or diagonally with Pipe Girl. The recruiter only has 1 Mind Slip, but can pick up a second one in the full game if they visit the space where the player had put it at the beginning of the game. The recruiter does not have to pick up the token even after they acquire it. They are only required to remove it after they have used it. So here's where we have placed a Mind Slip at the beginning of this particular game. Again, if the recruiter touches this space, they don't have to take it off the board. Only after they use it will they take it. Carl lets them jump 1 space orthogonally, so they completely bypass whatever space that they jump over. They do not recruit from these spaces either. It's like they're not even touching them. So if they've been through this space, they're not touching it. If they haven't been through the space, then it doesn't count as them touching it either. And with Pipe Girl, it's the only time that they're allowed to move diagonally. So if you use Pipe Girl, they can then jump spaces this way or this way in order to be able to avoid it. If there is a Mayhem point in the way, then yes, they can jump over it and they can avoid Mayhem using the Mind Slips. Play keeps happening this way until either the rogue agents have captured the recruiter, in which case they have won, or they have satisfied one of the two losing conditions, which is either the recruiter has recruited a set amount of people, 12 in the main game, 9 in the training, or the time tracker has hit 14 in the training game, which they have lost, or 16 in the full game. Whether you win or lose, the app will let you know what shift packages you have unlocked. These contain extra content for the game and can either assist either the recruiter or the rogue agents for your next game. These packages are designed to be added and removed depending on what you want to play, and they are not to be destroyed. This is not a legacy game, so you can use them or not use them or however you want to do it. It's up to you to decide how you want to add them to your game, whether it be assisting the rogue agents in taking down Mind Management or making it easier for the recruiter to find psychics for their organization. Finally, I want to go over the training game, which is the introductory game to Mind Management. If this is your first time playing the game or you just want a different, easier experience, go ahead and tap on that to start the training game. The training mission removes a lot of the mechanics from the main game in order to streamline your experience and help you learn the mechanics a little easier. So after you're prompted to put the game board in the middle, you're going to once again put the time tracker at the 1 to 5 o'clock mark on the time tracker. As it says here, you're going to put 1 recruit token over the 15 and 16 spaces on the time track because you only have 14 turns in order to catch the recruiter. The recruiter also will tell you where their first spot is. That's the biggest piece of information you're going to get from this. It'll tell you exactly where they start, and you have to figure out where their moves go from there. Otherwise, after you hit OK and do that, it'll tell you again how many recruits they have gotten during their first 5 turns, and then you're going to put your characters on the board as normal. After everyone has put their characters on the board, your recruiter is going to move to 6, and then from here you're going to be able to take your turns. And the thing is, with training mode, you're limited to what actions you have. You can only move, ask, reveal, and capture. You don't have any access to any special abilities, any allies, or shakedowns because there are no immortals in the training mission. The recruiter only has 1 mind slip that they can use, are still recruiting from 3 particular features, and only need to recruit 9 people in order to win the game instead of the main game's 12. Otherwise the game plays exactly the same. You're going to be asking about certain features, but you don't have to worry about immortals there in order to be able to slow you down. You can then use wherever they are in order to try to figure out the best possible places that the recruiter can be and track them down bit by bit. And this is pretty much how you're going to handle the training mode. I will be going over this in a longer playthrough session later on. Otherwise that's all there is to it. And there you have it. Mind Management, the solo co-op variant, using the app in order to be able to find the recruiter. Now again, I kept saying the co-op variant of it, and that's really another reason of what it is. You are playing this game as only the rogue agents, but you and other people can sit on the same tide and try to find the AI as it runs around Zanzibar using your mental notes and your own brain power together in order to be able to find it. So that's ideally where the cooperative part comes to as well. It's all the same game. You can play it by yourself, you can play it with people, but you're also always the rogue agent. That is the only big thing that I see people saying, that they wish they could switch. They wish they could be the recruiter in solo, though I don't really know how that would work per se. But otherwise this is a great hidden movement puzzle game. One that I would recommend for anybody that likes that style of game, hidden movement and whatnot, whether you're playing this solo or with a lot of people. Fantastic game. And this is one that I took a little while in order to really figure out how to dive into in order to make the most out of it. Once I realized that it's all about the note-taking, so much open for this game, and I am just very, very excited to be able to show this all for you. Thank you all again for watching this How to Play for Mind Management, the solo co-op variant of it. If you have any questions at all, please leave them down in the comment section below. And if not, let me know what you think of Mind Management. Is this a game that you have? Have you played this, whether it be solo using the app or with other friends and family, in order to see how you can either avoid them as the recruiter or hunt them down as a rogue agent? I love to hear all of your stories down in the comment section below. Again, thank you to Off the Page Games for providing this copy for this How to Play. Expect to see at least the training session and 1 full game for this game in order to be coming out soon on the channel. Those are the play sessions that I have ready to go. Maybe I'll be able to do more in the future if I want to unlock some of the shift boxes, but that's really all depends on you guys if that's something you want to see. If there's any major rule corrections that I need to make, they will be down in the pinned comment below. Otherwise, I hope this helped your game out at all in order to be able to figure out if there's anything you were doing wrong, if there's anything you missed, or if it just boosted your interest for the game. In any event, thank you all again so much. Be sure to subscribe to the Home Gamer Dad so you don't miss any future espionage, mind management, action, or any other fun video I happen to put out. If you wish to support the channel further, super thanks are always appreciated, and thank you guys so much for that. Or you can head on over to patreon.com/HomeGamerDad in order to see the tiers there, maybe sign up over that way. In any event, simply you watching this, giving it a like and a comment and everything is more than enough for me, and I thank you so much. You've been absolutely amazing. I hope you're looking forward to my sessions for mind management. As always, take care of yourselves and each other. We are family forever, gaming together. If you happen to be out on the street and somebody comes up to you in order to recruit you for a secret Black Ops organization, yeah, I mean, you're your own person, you're gonna do what you wanna do, but I highly recommend turning the other way and possibly finding other people in order to help you take them down. But again, that's up to you. You tell me what you would do down in the comments below. Until next time, you guys have a good one. And from the world of mind management, I will say, see you then.